Niagara Stakes last time, narrowly beaten, but a bad trip, and that's why Eddie Dalahousie has been brought in.
There you think is the horse that represents the speed.
And he's just a great Cinderella story, this horse. He's got speed, but he has to pick up weight. In his last race, he carried 104 pounds, and today he must carry 126, as all the older horses carry that weight, and the 3-year-olds, of which there are 2, get in with 119 pounds.
$165,000 won in Beaufast's career. Snurge, the 8-horse, $1,200,000, the winningest horse in the field today.
Seems to be going up to the gate quite calm. We're going to have to watch him now. As Dan mentioned earlier, he is sometimes reticent when he gets around the starting gate, so we'll have to see how he handles that.
And the month off, do you think that's a factor after those 3 narrow defeats?
Big help. The most important thing you want going for you at this time of year is freshness.
And Wiorno is trying to track him down right now. I don't know what to think of the 6-horse here. He's never been a mile and a half. Doesn't like the footing, I don't believe.
Well, look at his connections, though. He's trained by Andre Fabre, who just recently won the Arc de Triomphe with Subotica. And, of course, the great young French jockey, the leading French jockey, Thierry Jarnet, a little bit balking there, this number 6-horse Wiorno, but he's going up now. And, of course, these North American starters that we have here and assistants don't know these horses very well. They try and get the book on them, and you just kind of have to coax them into place. They're professional race horses. The surrounding is new to them. They've been up on the Marshall course to gallop, but going into this gate is a bit of a new experience for them, so they'll take their time, get them in position properly, and let them all have a fair start.
There's Sadler's Hall. Folks always snicker when I wonder this. When European horses come to North America, and maybe you've touched on this, Jim, but to run counterclockwise here versus clockwise over there, is it at all an issue?
Doesn't have to be, because they run both ways in Europe. One thing I like about this horse, you can see him standing there. He looks like he's got intent on his mind, but when you see him running head on through the stretch at you, the one thing I want you to know, Ron, is that he's got the Stanley Cup emblazoned on his face. That white blaze on his face is shaped just like the Stanley Cup.
Ah, well, set to send them on their way is Dan Loisel. Dan?
Well, thank you, Ron. They're moving into line for a World Classic on grass, the Rothmans Limited International, a race that has showcased equine superstars over the years, including Delia, Arc de Triomphe winner all along, of course, Youth, the Sky Classic last year, and who could forget the mighty Secretariat. The public, well, they like Mashallah. He's 2-1. Horses milling about in behind the gate. Snurge is still in behind there. Snurge, a Group 1 winner this year in Italy, trained by Paul Cole, who won the Budweiser International yesterday with Zillman. Snurge still in behind the gate, and we will wait on Baton. Baton, a winner of 4 of 12 lifetime starts, including the King Edward II Stakes at Royal Ascot this year. Baton will be the last horse to load in stall 14. They're at the post. They're off in the Rothmans International, and Beaufast is sent right to the front. Ghazi right there in second. Wolf to the inside, third. Irish St. Ledger winner Mashallah comes on between horses. And to the outside is Cozine's Prince. The Snurge is right there, back 6 lengths off the lead. They run through the far turn. Beaufast is dictating the early pace. Ghazi is second, Cozine's Prince is third, Mashallah is a close fourth. In behind runners is a Snurge. Apta Kissick is there. Sadler's Hall drafting in behind runners. They're off the turn. They cross over the main track and onto the inside turf course. It's Beaufast by a length. Ghazi tracks him from second. Mashallah. Toward the hedge we have Wolf, then Rainbows for Life, Cozine's Prince and Snurge, Wiorno. Black's Racing Room back 5 lengths off the lead. Sadler's Hall under restraint. Then Apta Kissick, Baton, Tata Brum spinning, and the trailer is Seattle bound. About 7 furlongs to run on the Rothmans International. Beaufast joined on the outside by Ghazi. Those two to the clubhouse turn. Cozine's Prince floated 3 wide. Mashallah in a good position between Cozine's Prince and Rainbows for Life. Snurge right on the heels of Mashallah. On the outside, Sadler's Hall is well placed, 3.5 lengths off the lead. Then Wiorno, Wolf, Baton, Apta Kissick, spinning. Second to last is Tata Brum, and Seattle bound is the trailer. They're into the backstretch now, and Ghazi has taken the lead. Beaufast has weakened. It's Ghazi by 3/4 of a length. Cozine's Prince right at his flank. Mashallah and Snurge, they're both asked to quicken now, and they're gaining ground on Ghazi. It's Ghazi by a 1/2 length inside the half-mile pole. Mashala's in the center. On the outside, Snurge. Wiorno is a close fourth now. Cozine's Prince to the hedge. Sadler's Hall is being asked to pick it up by Walter Swinburne. Inside the 3/8, Ghazi is still there by 3/4 of a length. On the outside, Snurge. Mashala, Coffin goes to work on that one. Wiorno is right there. Sadler's Hall, 5 lengths off the lead. Less than a quarter of a mile to run. It's Ghazi, and here comes Snurge to take him on, and the battle intensifies. Ghazi on the inside and Snurge on the outside. Wiorno looks for room at the hedge, and here comes Wolf for Eddie Delahoussaye. It's Ghazi. Wolf on the outside. Snurge is coming on. Wiorno looking for a scene down at the hedge. Those three in a battle royale. Snurge, Wiorno, Ghazi, and they're running on the ground. Now it's Wiorno and Snurge. Which one? It's going to be tight. Wiorno wins the Rothmans International. Snurge second and Ghazi third. Then Sadler's Hall, Cozine's Prince, Baton, Wolf, Todd of Rum, Seattle Bound, Apta, Kissick, Mashala faded badly, spinning to the hedge and way back to Beau Fassa and Rainbows for Life. That was a squeaker, Ron and Jim. The running time, 2:39.
Dan, thank you very much. It's unofficial. Wiorno the winner. Madame Plesch, the owner, saw Sassafras beat Nijinsky, so she's no stranger to upset victories. And a tremendous trip for Thierry Jarnet, who adds the Rothmans International to his Arc de Triomphe triumph.
Just the way you want to watch a race, of course, Ron. We had several horses in contention. The speed was actually pretty good. An uneventful start, really. Everybody seemed to get a good position here. And, of course, this is up on the Marshall Turf Course with 3 furlongs to go before we join the dirt. And at the dirt here, we see Beau Fassa. We thought he'd be the leader. Ghazi just in behind him, and several others, as we thought, just from about post position, maybe 3 out, were ready to strike. And that strike came about 3 furlongs from home. And in the stretch, we have Ghazi in front. We've just passed the 8th pole now. He's a half length in front. On the outside is Snurge. We said 3 times in a row now he's lost a head photo, and he lost another one today. What a great ride by the Arc de Triomphe winning jockey Thierry Jarnet, coming up the hedge. I bet he scraped his boot on the hedge pretty good there. But here he comes, the Andre Fabre trained Wiorno, just getting through and eking through. This is the way the Europeans love to run, from behind and in exciting fashion. 3 top horses there coming to the wire right together, and it is the French that gets the best of the English today.
Andre Fabre, we should have known he knew what he was doing. I had mentioned Wiorno had never been a mile and a half, but obviously had what it took, and as you say, a remarkable string of bad luck for Snurge. But Thierry Jarnet, 25 years old, this is a remarkable jockey, and we'll hear a lot more from him in the future. There is an inquiry. Go ahead, Jim, you touch that.
Yes, there is an inquiry against the winner, we should say, and Dan Loisel is mentioning it now, that the stewards are going to review the stretch run regarding the winner, number 6, Wiorno. So that would obviously involve the horse next to him, and that was Ghazi, the pacemaker that won the Secretariat Stakes. So maybe Snurge is not out of this yet because he finished second, and when a horse is bothered and a horse causes interference, he has to go behind the horse that he bothers. So it will be a while now till they first of all put the photo up, but in our opinion it was Wiorno. And second step that has to be taken now, the stewards will deliberate by a video if there was in fact any infraction, and they'll want to talk to all of the jockeys involved before they make a decision.
Brian?
Well, it's interesting, Ron. I was speaking with Bruce Watt.
We're looking at the eventual winner, Wiorno. He comes out and he bumps. He bumps Ghazi. Now that is why they're having the inquiry, and you have to think, did one horse come in or the other horse come out? We'd have to look at that maybe a couple of times to see where Ghazi's path was, if it in fact had taken him in a little bit and into the path of Wiorno, if he in fact had left the rail and come out again and suckered that horse in there. So that'll be the big thing. There was some contact up the stretch. Some people out there may say, well, you know, the horse wasn't going to beat him anyway, that Wiorno was a fair winner there. But in racing, the rule says that if you bother someone because of the safety of the rider, the safety of the other horses, you have to be put behind that horse. So the stewards now have to decide whether that bump, whether it was initiated totally by Wiorno, whether it was 50-50. If it's 50-50, it stays. If it was initiated by Wiorno and the stewards think it was bad enough, then there will be a change of positions.
Dan Kenny, your point of view.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I'm darn glad that I'm not a steward. These are the toughest things because you've got horses going 30 some odd miles an hour in every stride. One horse is leaning in, another horse. Interestingly enough, ask jockeys and they will tell you that a horse will instinctively brace to protect themselves against an anticipated blow from another horse. So this makes the steward's job so precise, like they have to almost interpret what is so subjective. So this race, there's a bit of confusion down here. The principals haven't settled, so I don't have an interview, but right now let's go back to Brian.
All right, talking about potential disqualifications in the 54-year history of this event up until today, only one winner of the International, the Rothmans International, has ever been disqualified. That was Tradesman, ridden by the late Avelino Gomez back in 1969. So high drama here at Woodbine this afternoon. Stay with us. We'll try and sort it all out for you on this cool and wet Sunday afternoon.
I was aware of a horse on the rail coming the far side of me, but I wasn't interfered with in any way.
So you may inherit this if the stewards decide to disqualify Wiorno.
Well, if he's gone where there's no room to go and he has bumped the horse between us, you know, the stewards have got to look at that.
This is part of a jockey's life. Have you ever been on the wrong side of one of these in such an important race, or on the right side?
I haven't. No, I've actually come down and the horse had to be destroyed, though, because of something similar.
Well, Brian, it's a lot of people standing around waiting. The bettors, the owner, Mr. Martin Arbib is here, the owner of Snurge, and Paul Cole. So we'll just wait on the stewards.
You know, Dan, it's interesting. Wiorno is a French horse. Should he be set down and Snurge be moved up? Snurge, of course, bred in Ireland, an English horse. We just heard from Richard Quinn. The only English horse, even though Mashala was favored today to win the Rothmans International in its long 54-year history, was Infamy in 1988. So unofficially, it is Wiorno, followed by Snurge, and one of two 3-year-olds in this race, Ghazi. And as we wait the inquiry, Jim Bannon, let me bring you in. You a little surprised that Ghazi, a speed horse, was able to be that strong almost from the start? Because usually on a soft course, the speed horse drops back halfway through.
Well, Brian, I was waiting and waiting for my prediction to come true, but it wasn't happening. This horse ran just a tremendously game race.